another liquid cooler that has a LCD screen, and this is none other than the PCcooler DT360 ARGB display. And I've heard a lot of good stuff about this liquid cooler, and it does perform. So this is right now in my hands. We shall see how well they perform. Before I begin, I'd like to thank PCcooler to have provided this unit for me to share with everyone. Now, what do we have in this package? Initially, this is actually sealed with a plastic wrap, which I already removed. And right inside the package, you have a protective foam to protect all the unit. You have the accessory box, which I will go through with you. The LCD screen and the radiator. I believe it's with the fans. Yep, that's right. Radiator with the fans and the pump block. In this black box are all the accessories, which are packed nicely individually. For the LCD is packed with this. For the fan hub or the ARGB hub is packed with this Ziploc bag, and this center section here is packed with this. Now, starting on my left, you have a 8-port ARGB or fan hub, total of 8 ports, and it does come with the cable, which I will guide you through on how to do the connection. A bag of screws, which is meant for you to mount your radiator to your case, and there are a total of 12 short screws. The instruction manual to guide you through on how to do the mounting for Intel and for AMD. Now, this leaflet is meant for you to download the application to control the LCD panel. The AMD bracket. Now, this is good, whereby the mounting retention board is on the bracket itself, and you need to swap this out. Let's say you want to use AMD. From the pump itself, you will need to remove this, as this bracket here is meant for Intel. For AMD platform, it supports AM4 and AM5. You have the backplate for Intel, and as mentioned, the mounting bracket is already pre-installed. And for Intel, it supports 11.5x, 1200, 1700, and 1851 socket. A tube of thermal paste known as the EX90. Now, their thermal paste is fantastic. I've tested on the past content, right? It does check out very well. Now, finally, the LCD panel, and this is of a 3.4 inch display, having a resolution of 480 by 480 in pixel, and for the refresh rate is at 60 Hz. Now, for the measurement, from the top to the bottom, this is at 82 mm. From the side to side is 80 mm. The thickness is of 12 mm. Now, this cable comes with this. You will need to plug this end, which is the Type-C, to the LCD panel. And on the other end, which is a 9-pin USB connector, this is meant for you to connect to your motherboard. Now, one thing good about this panel is magnetic. If you want to place on the block, by right it should be on the block, you can. You just magnet it. If you want to place it outside of the case, not a problem. You need to route this cable, which is pretty long. It's 1 meter long. Okay, so you can mount this outside the case. As I mentioned, these are magnetic. So assuming this is the case side or case front, see, it's magnetic. And this whole casting here is aluminium. Well done. For the main unit, starting off with the radiator, I've taken off the 3 120mm fans, and to mount this fans to the radiator, these are the 12 long screws. Now, this fan is in fact pre-mount, or should I say pre-installed on the radiator, so you don't have to take it out. Just to show you the construction and everything, that's why I took it out, and to explain on the fans later. Starting off with the radiator, the measurements is at 394mm by 120mm, and as for the thickness, this is at 27mm. If I am to add on together with the fan and this thickness is 25mm. Together with the radiator, it will give you a height of 53mm. The whole construction of the radiator is made out of aluminium. It's very sturdy, and when I look at the fins and I measured at 1 inch, this is 20 fins per inch. On each side of the radiator, it has a very nice subtle logo, CPS, with this kind of designs at the side. Same goes to the other side. Nicely done. See? And for the radiator tube, it's nicely braided. Oh, by the way, I've taken off this 2 tube holder, which is already pre-installed. It's just that I had to remove off to show you how nice the braided holes are. And for the tube holder, right, it's nicely done, subtle pattern. And one thing good is that they have this separate, as in like to separate the holes with this center divider. So when you clip this to the hose, right, as you shift around, right, this tube will be parallel for aesthetic look. Nice. Okay, on each side of the tube, this is made of aluminium. I mean the butt itself, this is not swivelable. On this end, again, aluminium butt, and this is swivelable. And when you swivel, please make sure you don't hold the hose and swivel. Make sure you hold the whole thing, as in like the butt with the swivel point. Then you swivel the tube to prevent breakage. Because if you use the tube right, you might break this joint over here. So take note on this. Now the hose length is at 400mm, by the way. Coming to the pump. As mentioned to you, the LCD panel, the whole thing is aluminium. Well, the block too. I feel so premium with this Liquid AIO. The whole thing is aluminium. Nicely done. Now as for the measurement, from the top to the bottom, left to the right, this is 48.5mm. If you were to place the LCD panel, that will be a different story. As mentioned to you, right, the length of this is 82 and the width is at 80mm. And as for the height, together with the LCD, this is at 62mm. Unless you want to place this outside the case, then the height of the pump is at 50mm. Now at the bottom of this pump, you have a very large copper cold plate. This will be good. In fact, it will contact the full processor IHS, be it Intel or AMD. Now this have 2 connection points on the pump itself. You will be given a 3-pin ARGB connector, which is to control the ARGB logo on the pump block. Now in the event, if you just want to use the LCD, which most of you does, to save energy, right, you don't have to plug this 3-pin ARGB connector, because you won't be seeing the ARGB anyway, because your LCD is on it, right? Next will be the 4-pin PWM connector. This is very important. Okay, you have to plug this. This is meant for you to control the pump rotation, and this you can set the PWM. Now coming for the pump build and specs. This pump is made of ceramic shaft. That's right, the bearing of it, which is pretty good. And the specs of this pump, right, max RPM is at 2600 plus minus 10%, and it has a drawing current of 12 DC at a ampere of 0.3 ampere. These are the radiator fans, which is known as the F7X120, and they are of stealth black with subtle bling of ARGB, or a touch of ARGB, which I love so much. It's so elegant, which I'm going to show you later. Now for this fans, I am amazed, and I kind of like how it's been daisy chained. As you can see, this is the whole piece. It's very sturdy and such. Now the thing is that these fans are like Lego. Let me just show you. See, it's daisy chained this way. These are the pins, and this, as mentioned to you, Lego. Okay, and best part that be whether you arrange this way or this way, right, there is always two corner covers, see, which cover the corners of both ends of the end of the whole daisy chain, which is here and here. Okay, and of course one of them have this cable which you will need to connect. Okay, let me just take this out. So what's so fascinating, what's so fascinating about all this? I just find that, I know it's pretty lengthy, or should I say it take a long time or period to mount them up, but they are so sturdy. Okay, these are individual fans, so you just need to plug this in, and it's so functionable. See, be I put it here or put it here, it doesn't matter, because it will just clip so long as the direction of your pins are aligned properly, then it will be great. Yep, see, so make sure you want daisy chain, right, all these pins are as one side and those without at one side, and you won't go wrong. And don't do it opposite, as in, like, the fan blade and the frame. This is wrong, though the pin are like this. So make sure that it's in one direction, which is like this. Alright, the structure of the fan is very sturdy, see, rock solid. And these are dual ball bearing fans, which will have a very long lifespan. And the swivel point, when I swivel the whole fan, right, it's flat, it doesn't wobble. And for the ARGB, if you notice, right, it's inside the frame and inclusive of the ring of this casting. Well done. Now it's total of 7 bladers, if I'm not wrong. 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, that's right. And it has a curved shape that scoop tons of air. Now, earlier on I mentioned that to mount this fan on the radiator using these long screws, right, one thing good about them, take a look, is being concealed with this anti-vibration rubber grommets. See? And on the other side, it's open. So if you to switch the fan, right, you just need to switch this over, because when you pull through the screws, right, okay, from this end, let's say, you need to go through here. So if you are doing this direction, right, where the fans are going this way, right, you have to take out this, okay, the rubber grommet. Oh no, this is thick. Okay, so sorry. I think you can too. In fact, you can take this out and place it on the other side, but I don't think anybody will do that. But anyway, I was just saying that, the whole construction, right, it feels so premium, so sturdy, and so well made. Now, on the fans itself, there are 3 modes, which this will come very lengthy. You have low, medium, and high. Okay, let's talk about the specs and everything about this fans first. First of all, these are known as the F7X120. They are all dual ball bearing fans, okay, the technology, and each of them having 7 blades and have a noise resolution, okay, from 15 to 33.1 decibel, all of them. Now, there are different specs between the switches, starting off with the low. If you set this to low, right, okay, by the way, all this drawing current, right, is at 12 DC. Okay, starting with the low, the amperage will be 0.15 ampere, and the RPM max is at 1500 RPM, plus minus 10%. The airflow is at 55 CFM, and the air pressure is at 1.7 mm H2O. Now, if you set it to medium, okay, the specs will be different. The drawing ampere will be 0.25 ampere, and the max RPM is at 2500 plus minus 10% RPM. And as for the airflow, is at 65 CFM, and for the air pressure, 3.3 millimeter H2O. Now, if you were to switch to high, okay, the drawing amperage is 0.38 ampere, and the max RPM is at 3000 plus minus 10% RPM. The air flow is at 83 CFM, and for the air pressure is 5.7 millimeter H2O. Now I'm just going to do the test later when I do the thermal to test between the high and the mid and the high. No point testing the low on a high-end processor, and also to share with you the noise between the mid and the high during at load. Oh, this is fantastic. By the way, as mentioned, right, to daisy chain all this, make sure that it's in one direction, and make sure that the pin are joining, which is hang on. Oh, okay, it's down here. That's why you need to know the pins first and the direction. Okay, which is like this. Okay, once you align the pin, look at the blade. So this is this way. Okay, yep, that's right. Before showing you the correct method to clip this back on to form the daisy chain, something you need to take note. This is very important. As I mentioned to you, each fan has different profile. So if you decided on one profile, take for example medium, make sure you set the rest of the fan to medium. If you want it high, set it to high, and the rest as high. Do not do it like one fan having low profile, the other two having medium profile, or even individual profile as in low, mid, and high, because this will confuse your motherboard fan curve, and that will cause malfunction. So take note on this. And another thing is that when you're plugging these fans, right, do not plug these cables directly to your motherboard. I know that some of the motherboard is capable of doing 2 ampere, but I would strongly advise stick to this basic fundamental. Make use of the fan hub that's been powered by the SATA, so that to power up the fan is through the hub, okay, by connecting the ARGB and the 4-pin PWM to the hub. So in the event if this is drawing too much and it can't take the load, right, at least your hub is damaged, not your motherboard. But anyway, this is certified to, you know, provide the power that what this fan require. So at all times, I repeat, do not plug this two connector from the fan directly to your motherboard. Now coming to clip the fans together, as you can see, right, over at this end, this is arch. Okay, I placed this wrongly. Yep, should be this way. Make sure they are same direction, and make sure that the pin are of the same direction. Alright, then once you've done that, you can flip to one side. As you can see, right, this is arch. There's an arch, and this is straight. Else on the other side, this without arch is actually a rectangular slot. So make sure when you look over here, right, see this is arch, this is without. So at this section, these are all rectangular. I will make use of the rectangular. Alright, align them properly. Okay, make sure that they are parallel and flush. Then you can clip on to this. It's pretty straightforward. Push it down and make sure this is flush. See, done. Next will be this end where you have the arch. It's just like Lego pieces. You just, you know, follow the arch to arch. Same goes to here. So plug this in, okay, and press it down, and this will form back the shape, as in like the whole daisy chain mechanism. Man, this is very sturdy. I've mounted the 320mm fans back to the radiator using the long screws, but before you mount it back, make sure you check the profile on each fans. If they are medium profile, make sure these three are of medium profile, and don't do it like, you know, one is low, one is mid, one is high, because when you control the RPM, right, it will damage the PWM curve which you're gonna set on your motherboard. So don't do that. Make sure if it's medium profile, all are medium profile. If it's high, all are high. Alright. So once you have fastened everything down with the provided screws, for each fans, right, as mentioned to you, there are anti-vibration rubber grommets, okay, for all the 4 points. So to conceal this screw over here, just place it back, and you will conceal nicely for you. See, this is done. You can't see any screws at all. I like this. Well done. Now, to prepare for Intel platform, things that you need. Okay, the back plate, the thermal paste, the ARGB and fan hub with the cable. I'll explain to you why. The LCD panel and the cable. First thing to do, of course, mount your processor. Make sure it's secured. Turn your motherboard over. Using the back plate, where you have this thread, you know, the thread socket, I should say, protruding upwards, is supposed to be facing downwards. So you need to aim all this 4 point to the 4 holes on your motherboard. Now, first thing to do, since this is a 1700 socket, I will push all this out. If it is 11.5x, you will need to push this in. Okay? So once this is done, right, next thing is to peel this off. Then you can place it down. You can do it this direction or this direction, it doesn't matter, based on the fact that this is square. Now, an easy way to mount this to the 4 holes, right? I know some of you might struggle. You don't have to. Just place your index finger on 1 point. Okay, any of the point. Then point towards the hole that you want to place it in first. See, this is swivelable with your index finger supporting in the back. So you can just glide and to push the other rest of the point through the hole. It's quite simple. So assuming that this is stick to the the back plate is stick to the motherboard, right? When you turn, it will not fall off. So right now I'm just going to turn, and this is what you will get. Okay, I have not done the back plate, the double-sided tape. That's why it does fall off. Since I'm not illustrating on the performance on this Intel platform, as this is just a dummy processor, it can't work. Alright, next thing to do, use alcohol, clean the processor. Use the wipe to wipe it clean. Next thing, prepare the pump. For your pump, make sure you remove off this cover, which is protecting the cold plate. And when you remove this, right, make sure to use alcohol to clean it before you place to the IHS. So assuming this is already done, as in like you peel this off and you clean it. Now, reason to clean it, right, because you wouldn't know what's on the plastic cover. There might be sticky substance and such, so make sure you clean it. Once it's done, right, anchor this 4 point to the hose. Okay, just use one finger or thumb to anchor 1 point. Use the other finger. Okay, you can use all your fingers to actually align all the 4 holes. So once you've done that, right, okay. Now when you're aligning this, right, you don't have to worry that the cold plate will smudge, on the block, because it's still lifted up, even if I do this. So when you want to fasten it down, right, that means to say tighten on this bolt, right, make sure you hold one hand on the block to give you stabilization. Then use your screwdriver, tighten alternately. Let's say I do this 1 round, I'll go up 1 round, then I'll do this 1 round, and over at this end 1 round. So continue to do this until the mounting bolt stops. It will come to a stop. When you feel there is a stop, do not go further, alright? Just do hand tight. Will do. So assuming this is done, right? Next thing to do is the connection point of your cable. The most important connection is this 4-pin PWM connector. So read your instruction manual of your motherboard. Okay, let me just turn this. Look for the AIO underscore pump. Now, it happened that this is a ASUS motherboard, so I know that the AIO underscore pump, right, is this. Some motherboard might be W underscore pump, or some might be pump underscore system fan, things like that. So just look for the pump header. Connect the pump connector to the pump AIO. Once this is done, right, next thing is to connect the ARGB connector. Now for ARGB connector, right, if your motherboard only have one header, assuming, okay, if you connect this, right, make use of this point here, right, to connect to your fan ARGB. But since a hub is being provided, you can plug to the hub. Okay, this will be a better way because the current, right, the power supply is pushing the current to your hub, and this is drawing the current through your hub directly. In fact, it's directly to your PSU instead of to your motherboard. This will be more ideal. So assuming that you can plug any of the ARGB points over here. Okay, I'm not going to plug it right now. I'll show you later. Next thing to do is your fan connection point. Now, as mentioned to you, do not plug this 4-pin PWM connector of your radiator fans directly to the motherboard, because the drawing current, which is actually 0.38 ampere, the highest profile, is way above on most fan headers. Don't do that. I would advise you to connect to the hub. So with this, right, look for fan 1 that has this red socket. Okay, this is where you should be plugging to your radiator fans. So plug this in, then plug the ARGB connector, which is right beside it, which says ARGB 1. Now, as mentioned to you, right, previously I didn't plug the pump ARGB. I'm going to plug it in right now because I just want to freely show you. So just plug it anywhere you want. Now, when you're doing this, right, for the ARGB effect, right, all will synchronize between the fan and the pump ARGB. If you want to do it separately, right, you can do this. If your motherboard has 2 ARGB connection points, you can connect this, your pump, right, to the second ARGB connector, which is on the motherboard. Okay, if you only have one, right, then too bad, you got to plug it to the fan hub. Now, why do I say if you only have one ARGB connector, right, connect to the fan hub? Reason being, right, your hub also need to take in instruction from your motherboard. So there will be this cable over here where you need to plug. So first of all, take care of the hub connector, which you can see here, right, this cable here, you have 3 connection points. Alright, just look for the one which holds the 2 cable. See, this 2 cable. This is the connector for your hub. So plug this in. Then on the other end, where you have 2 connection points, one is for your fan 4-pin PWM connector, and the other is a 3-pin ARGB connector. So plug this. As mentioned to you, since I have 2 ARGB connector, one is controlling the pump, the other controlling the fan. So assuming that, okay, let me just plug over here. Assuming that you only have one ARGB connector, priority this ARGB connector, right, will have to go to the hub. And for this, right, you will need to plug to the hub. So that's the reason why. Okay, I'm just going to leave it. Okay, assuming it's done. Now the last cable, in fact this is the most important, which is your radiator fans RPM, or known as the PWM 4-pin connector. Okay, you should have connected this first before the ARGB. It's just that I want to explain to you what's going on with the ARGB. So with this, right, this is to go to your CPU_1, the master controller. So what I have done now, right, the fans is connected to the hub. The hub needs signal both the ARGB and the 4-pin PWM direction, as in like the signal from the motherboard. So what I've done is actually connect, okay, between the motherboard and the hub with the cables, which is this, so that the hub will take in instruction from the motherboard, be it the fan RPM or the ARGB. Then from there, from the hub, right, it will send the signal to your radiator fans, be it the RPM or the ARGB. Same goes to the ARGB on the pump itself. Now, having to plug it this way, right, is not the end. You will need to supply power to the hub. So at this end, right, where it has a SATA connector, make use of your PSU SATA modular cable. In fact, it's this, the PSU. So power is supplied through the PSU to this SATA cable, which will supply power to the hub. So this is safe to run. As mentioned to you, right, your why you have this hub is mainly because of the radiator fans, because they take up high amperage. So if you were to connect this directly to the motherboard, right, your motherboard header will just blow or maybe malfunction. So that's the reason why you have this hub. And once it's done, right, the last step, which is the LCD panel. Okay, let me just turn this properly. Now, as mentioned to you, when you want to swivel the hose, right, make sure you hold onto the butt and swivel. Do not hold by the hose and turn, right, you will break. Now, for the LCD, it's pretty straightforward. You have this cable. So one end, which is the Type-C connector, plug to the LCD. Okay, you can place this on the pump. Then on the other end, which you have the 9-pin USB connector, plug it to your motherboard USB 2.0 socket. Alright, you can just plug it in, and this is done. For AMD platform, things you need to swap out the mounting bracket, the fan hub with the cable, the LCD with its cable, and of course the thermal paste. First thing to do, remove these screws and take out the bracket, as you will need the 4 mounting screw thread. Next, prepare the block first before you do anything. Take out this Intel socket, replace with this bracket, and make sure that this is pointing downwards. Okay, so the way to fit it, the cold plate is over here, so this protruding upwards should be this way. Once this is done, use alcohol, clean the processor, wipe it clean, apply thermal paste. Once you've done this, right, remove this plastic from the cold plate and make use of alcohol, clean it. Once you've done this, right, then you can apply. Anchor this 4 points over here to the holes over here. So you got to align it properly. Once all is aligned, right, holding on to the block, screw this in. Probably 1 turn over here. Do it alternately. Bottom 1 turn, here 1 turn, and here 1 turn. Now at all times, right, hold on the block itself. as you want even pressure. So continuously repeat the method of screwing your cold plate to the processor. Now, assuming this is done, first thing to do, connect the pump 4-pin connector to the motherboard, which I know that. Now please refer to your motherboard instruction of where the pump header is. I know this white one which says pump underscore fan system. Okay, let me just zoom in. As you can see over here, pump underscore system 1. This is my pump. So I'll be plugging the pump connector to the pump. Next, the ARGB. Now I only have one connection point, so I'll just leave it first. Followed by, you want to connect your radiator fans, but not to your motherboard. As mentioned to you, this fans here, right, are drawing a lot of current. You will need to use the fan hub. So how I prepare this? First thing, from your PSU SATA. Okay, this is my PSU. This is my SATA connection point. Plug to the hub, so that this will supply power from your PSU to the hub. This is done. Then next thing, at the other end of the hub, using this cable that's supplied, connect this proprietary connector, okay, to the hub. And on the other end, we have these two cables, one which is the 4-pin PWM and the other which is the 3-pin ARGB. Connect this first, the 4-pin, which is to provide current for your fans to rotate. Plug this to the CPU fan underscore 1. Make sure it's CPU underscore 1, okay? Once you have done this, right, on this end, which is from the hub, the ARGB, connect to this point. Since I only have one point ARGB connector header over here, for the pump ARGB, right, connect to the hub. Okay, anywhere of the hub. Okay, I'm just going to plug it over here. Okay, probably the last one over here which says ARGB 4. Now, as mentioned to you, your fan connection, right, is not to the motherboard. Instead, it's to the hub. And where do you connect this to? For the 4-pin PWM connector, right, on the hub itself, look for fan 1, where it's in red. This is the master controller. So plug your 4-pin of your fan connector to here, and the ARGB, as usual, plug it to here. And this is done for the fan and the pump. Your last step will be the LCD panel, where it comes with this cable. This end over here, which is the Type C, plug it to your LCD panel. And at the other end, where you have the 9-pin USB connector, connect to the header right at the below of your motherboard. So once this is done, okay, let me just plug it in properly first. Oh, it's down here. Sorry, it's down here, this two. So make sure you see where you're plugging in. Sometimes you might make mistake because this front connector looks almost the same. So make sure you know where you plug to. Anyway, it's down here. These are the two USB 2.0 headers. Once it's done, right, you can now mount your LCD on the block. Okay, and this is done. Now to conduct a sound test, and I've set my pump to run at 100%. If you check out on my right, it will show you my AIO pump that's ramping up at 2600 plus minus RPM, and my fan profile right now is at medium. Later I will illustrate to you on how it sounds like when it's at high. So the fans are right now at medium and my pump is at full. First of all, how the pump sounds like. This is my microphone. Gonna do a sound test. I'm gonna place the mic near my pump. This is how it sounds like. Now I'm just gonna move my mic away. Okay, this is where I'm going to place it so that I can test on the pump together with the radiator. Right now it's at idle. I am going to ramp up the Cinebench to let you hear the load. Again, the profile on the fans are at medium. Now I'm just going to let it idle, and again I'm going to let you listen to the idle and the load. As you can see on my right, the status, in fact you can see my pump and my radiator fan which says RAD fan. That is the actual radiator fans that is ramping up the RPM. So right now this is at idle, and I'm going to ramp it up again. Here we go. So this is at medium when the fan profile is set to. Right now, just going to show you how it sounds like when it's at high. The fans right now is at high profile, and this is at idle, the pump together with the radiator fans. Now I'm just going to ramp up the Cinebench and take a look at my right where you can see the RPM that will hit above 3000 RPM, and this is how it sounds like when it's at load. I'm just going to let it idle again, let you listen to the idle, and then I'm going to load it up again. Now this is at idle. I'm just going to ramp it up again. Here we go. There we have it. That's how it sounds like when it's at load. And right now I'm just going to play back the medium profile and the high profile so we can do a comparison on how much noise it is. You have heard the noise of the pump, inclusive of the pump together with the radiator fans, where it's at medium profile or high profile. Now, on other content that I've done on the Liquid AIO, I have comments stating that, hey, the pump noise is so ridiculously loud. Of course it will be loud, just like what I've shown you over here. The microphone I placed directly, under the pump or in front of the pump. That's why you can hear the mechanism of how the pump sounds like. That's my motive of placing the mic near. But when this is away from you, okay, and it's inside the case, you can't hear the pump at all. And when I ramp up the RPM on the fans, right, together with the pump when it's running at full speed, you can only hear the radiator fans. And speaking about the noise on the radiator fans, is subjective to individual. Why do I say that? Because individual of us, right, each and every one of us can accept a certain frequency. For me, this fans over here, right, be it at medium or at high, I'm able to accept it based on the fact that they are giving a subtle hum, not a sharp pitch. If it is a sharp pitch, I can't accept the Liquid AIO at all. So, as mentioned, what you hear over here, right, is up to individual. In fact, it's very difficult to explain how it sounds like, because in real life when you listen to it, right, and when you do the recording, right, there might be some difference. Even if I were to show you the meter, right, yeah, it can show you decibel, but what's the pitch, how high the pitch, and how does it hum? Nobody will knows. So based on the fact what you hear, that's the reason why I didn't show you the meter. Instead, I let you listen compared to the medium frequency and the high frequency. Alright, now I'm just going to conduct a test based on the medium profile and the high profile. And with this say, right, take a look, my room temperature over here is at 31.5 degrees Celsius. In fact, it's hovering around 30 to 31.5 degrees Celsius. And I'll be testing on a 9950X. Now, on here, I've stated 9950X3D. I've typed incorrectly, right? It's not 9950X3D, it's a 9950X. This is something which I wanted to highlight, whereby I noticed that for the idle temperature of this liquid cooler is fantastic. Based on the fact that all the coolers that I've tested, right, is either hovering around 48 degrees Celsius to around 51 degrees Celsius. But as I mentioned, right, when I conducted the high profile fans about the noise, so this is actually a recap. So as you can see, right, it's actually either at 46 degrees Celsius and my room temperature is 31.5 degrees, and surrounding it is actually warm air. See, 31.5, and the idle is at 46 degrees Celsius. Now on with the specs. These are the stuff which I'll be using to test this thermal, and of course with my own settings, as I want to lock it to be able to run at 5 gig. So having said so, right, these are the components as mentioned. You can pause it. I'm using a Ryzen 9 9950X with this motherboard, and these are the RAMs, and of course I've enabled Expo with a V-core offset of minus 0.05 volt, and the SoC voltage I block it to 1.15, but I believe that it will run further, probably 1.16 or so. And for the first test, we'll be conducting on the medium profile, and these are the PWM limits that I've done. You can pause and have a look at my curve optimizer and the curve shaper. So both tests, be it the medium profile or the high profile on the fans, right, will be running on all these sets and the same component. So as I run for the first few minutes, well, nothing spectacular. As you can see, it's hovering fine. Thermal is alright. So let me just take you to the last 3 minutes. Somewhere around here, I think. Yep. So on the Last 3 minutes, the temperature is hovering around 78 to 79 degrees Celsius with the fan profile at medium. I'm just going to take down the stats, and before I do so, right, take a look at the graph over here. It shows me consistent flatness. This tells me that the system is running very stable, and at all times, right, looking at the frequency, right, of all the cores, see, it's hovering around 5.1 gig or so. So it's best to actually look at the peak clock speed over here. Now I've done up a chart, so I will write down all the temperature and such. Starting off with the motherboard, as mentioned to you, is hovering around 78 to 79. I will just take it as 78. Then for the motherboard temperature, which I take from here, 54.5, and with the VRM at 64.5, which is actually the MOS MOSFET, then the chipset and such, I will take it down to 49.2 degrees Celsius. Then to the 2 DIMM slots, which is my RAMs, or should I say which are my RAMs, 49.8. okay, it jumps to 50. I'll take it as 50 then. Then for the second DIMM slot will be 48.8, and my M.2 48 degrees Celsius. Now for the RPM of the fans, right, as mentioned, the mid will be around 2500, but it managed to run 2200. So I just put 2222. Okay, since it's like this. Okay, this is something wrong. Hang on. Let me just do this. 2222 RPM. And for the base clock, when I look at it, 4.997, and for the boost clock, is at 5.725. Now probably I would just take the peak. The peak clock will be better, because based on the fact that this base clock, right, is average on all the cores, so I'll just take the peak, which is here. I would say it's around 5.088, around there. See, sometimes you just go over. Now as for the score, let me just pull, yep, over here. So it's at 42695. Now as mentioned to you, right, throughout the whole run, right, see, the graph is pretty consistent. So right now I will be doing the high frequency, or should I say the high profile for the fans. And as usual, as I run for the first few minutes, nothing spectacular, probably lower temperature. So as I run all the way until about the 3 minutes point, okay, probably around here. Okay, that's right. Look at the temperature. Alright, I'm just going to take it down. But before I do so, right, see, it's also very consistent throughout the run. There are some dips, yes, I did notice, but it's alright. It's spread out. It is still very consistent on the clock run. So right now I'm just going to take on all the temperature. So this is 76 degrees Celsius. The motherboard is 52. Then the VRM is at 60. The chipset 56.5. Then the 2 DIMM 48 degrees Celsius, and the other is at 46.8. Then followed by my M.2, which is 45. And as for the score, okay, probably I take down the peak clock first. Okay, so we're on 5.1. Okay, earlier on I saw 5.090. Okay, I'll just do it that way. Yeah, see? And the boost clock will be consistent, 5.725 gigahertz. And as for the score, let me just drag. This is the score. So it's at 42k, 8,500 and no, 859. Okay, with this say, right, as I mentioned to you, both runs, right, the I mean the clock frequency is pretty flat. To me, it's very consistent, and both are able to run at 5 gig. See, and it does reaches above, or should I say hit on target on the boost clock, which is 5.7. But looking at the thermal itself, right now, at the very beginning I mentioned about the idle temperature. This was my very first time encountering that, you know, with these settings, right, that I've done, right, most of the time it's either hovering around 48 degrees Celsius or 49 degrees Celsius. I've never come across with this temperature, which you can see here, 46 degrees Celsius, and this is on high profile. And on the medium fan frequency, right, it's hovering correctly, which is around 48 to 49 degrees Celsius, but only it's on the high fan profile, right, it's hovering around 46, which is amazing. Now back to where I was. Now having said this, right, as mentioned to you, the fan, oh, I forgot to place the fan, my bad. Okay, go back to the 3-minute mark and play, and to see the fan RPM. See, this at high profile, it's at 3045. Okay, it's at 30, yep, 45. All right, now as mentioned to you, I am impressed with the idle when it's at high profile, and also another fact that yes, at high profile on the fans, right, yes, it did ramp up and it did create noise, but the noise to me is acceptable. So if you ask me this question, hey Cleo, which will you run on this liquid cooler? I will tell you that I'll run on high profile, based on the fact that the fan doesn't irritate me. The idle temperature, right, is good, which is 46 degrees Celsius, and when it's at load, right, take a look, see the difference. It's by, not say a lot, but about 3 to 4 degrees Celsius of each component. If I do group up, right, my processor is definitely going to run very healthy. And looking at the clock speed, yes, it's about the same, but the thing is that it runs cooler. Okay, and for the scores, right, see, it's slightly better, but based on the fact that all this thermal, right, is what I'm looking at, so I would say that it's very impressive. I have never come across a liquid cooler, okay, which is not really a well-known brand, okay, I should say. So sorry about that, PCcooler. I know that you have established for some time, but to some, they are not aware of your brand. I have never encountered a brand that does their own R&D research on their pump and such. Okay, they don't use OEM pumps, they use their own in-house created pumps, and the whole structure, it's like 76 degrees Celsius on a 9950X. This is definitely very impressive. This is how the application looks like. You will need to download this. I will leave the URL in my description. You can click on it and to download if you purchase this liquid cooler. Now, as mentioned to you, this is the interface. On my left, this is the actual LCD. So what you have here is in fact the display of all the stats of your system. Now this will not be able to plug into the display, so take note on this. As for information, these are all about your component, like your memory, your motherboard and such. It will tell you all those stuff. And for settings, this is where you set the languages if you choose to see this in Chinese and such, but I'll set it to English. Then you can change the display either to degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. Then when it comes to the start with Windows, right, make a mistake, it will launch this application and to take all the stats and to display onto the LCD panel. Then you have the close button. You can either minimize it. Let's say you want to close this, it will be minimized, or you can set it to exit totally. Then as for this, close the device screen 1 minute after. Okay, I've tested this. Best to leave it as yes. Reason being, right, you want it instantly to close and exit when you shut down the machine. If not, it will stay on. So take note on this. That will consume a lot of resources when you boot up. And for lock, this is meant when I contact PCcooler, right? If you have issues with the LCD panel not synchronizing or not reacting properly, right, you can generate a lock, and to send this lock when you raise a so-called RMA ticket with them. As for check of updates, as usual, when you click on this, right, the application will search for the latest application, see if it's up to date. If not, you'll ask you to download. Of course, it will take you to a website to prompt you and such. As for hardware version, this is firmware. Again, you will launch a browser to show you what is the latest version for your firmware. Now, most important in fact is the management. This is the interface where you play with your LCD panel, starting with all the basics over here. So as you can see, right, my screen brightness is set to the lowest, because if I set it to the highest, see, it's very glaring. In fact, this LCD is, this IPS panel, right, is very bright. So normally for normal operations, right, I will set it to around 50. But due to the fact that right now at the camera, I see it's over glowing, so I have to set it all the way down so that you can have a better picture. As for angle, right, you can rotate. See, the display is rotating and such. And if you too fancy to, okay, for all this, right, reset, sleep, and weekend, I don't have to explain what they are. If you're done, certain things like the brightness and such, right, you can reset it and you will just go full plus 100% and such. As for sleep, you're putting the display to sleep. Then to awake, you're waking up the display. I find that these two are not really necessary. Now, of course, you can upload pictures. Let me just show you. Let's say I want to upload this. Okay, and you confirm, and this will be uploaded. And when this is uploaded, right, in order to load, you will need to hit on Start Edit. Then when you hit on Start Edit, this will pop up. Change to switch background. See, I've uploaded. So if you uploaded, right, you can change. Of course, the step will be there. You can't see it right now. So if you want to change again, you can change another. Up to you. Now, this not only limit to image, you can in fact upload. Okay, when you click on, okay, I go too fast. Earlier on, it was down here, right? Switching off the background. So once you've done, right, you can close this. Now, this is only for static picture. If you want to upload like animation, right, or should I say MP4, right, not a problem. Just click on upload again and select the MP4. Okay, which this is in fact the Sonic, which I will show you. Now it takes some time for it to compile and to load, so do take note on this. Kindly do not upload any MP4 video files, right, more than 3 minutes. Okay, if not, your application will hang. I've tested this. So as mentioned to you, I can upload, assuming I've uploaded, which I did. See, this is my animation. Okay, with the Sonic. Then let's say you wanted to edit all this, right, you can also. So what you need to do is just to click on here, right, then you load the background first. You can ignore this, right, you're doing on the panel right now. So once you do this, right, you can start to, this is in fact the editing program where you can add like text. See, the text is over there. You can't see it right now, so probably you need to put it bigger. Okay, I know this is in Chinese, but you can change the wording. Let's say this CPU. Okay, and you say that, oh, this font is very ugly. I would like to do things like, probably, okay, my favorite character will be this Microsoft. Yeah, hey UI. See, I like this font. And of course, you can change color too. Okay, over here. So we can change, probably, let's say, do it white. And okay, see, it's in white. Or if you fancy too, right, in a way that you want the wording to blend to the background, you can do that. See, you can just adjust. Okay, take a look. Right now it's actually full on. If I'm going to put this opacity down, right, and to confirm, see, it's slightly lighter and you can see through. Now this is not so much. If I were to show you the data, I mean the graph, right, or should I say the pie chart, it will be more obvious. Let me just show you. So you put this status bar, okay, for example, if I am going to change this like that, okay, hang on, background, I forgot to set that, set all this. See, your background will be like translucent. So this is actually how it works. Now, as shown you can do text and you can do graph, and this graph, right, you can pre-declare things like the temperature, you know, things like that, the CPU, the GPU, and lots more. So these are the things that you can fiddle with. This is on graph and this is on text. So if let's say you want to display the numbers, so that's data, so you come out on the screen again. Okay, let me just switch the background to something which is more comfortable, because the animation probably might distract you. So as I can see just now, I placed data, right? So what happens is that when you click on data, this is showing time. Okay, again, you can change the font size. Then probably you can change the fonts. Up to you to change plenty. A lot of character over here, but my favorite, as mentioned, is this. It's, you know, it stands out. So once you've done this, right, you can change the color if you want to. Let's say I'll do this. Okay, probably I'll just do this. Then on the other color, right, I will just change it to something which is yellow. Okay, this is done. So you can arrange up to you. And with this x-axis, y-axis, right, it helps a lot, because if you want to do numerous, right, when you want to know the alignment, right, this will tell you everything. Okay, take for example the axis coordinates. Take a look at here, right? Oh, take a look at this, alright? See what happened? It's moving. Right? So this will give you a proper alignment. In fact, you don't really have to use this. You can just straight away type. See? It will just go accordingly. Even to the height that you wanted, let's say 100. See? You'll bring it down. So these are the basic things that you can do. Once you've done this, right, just click Save As. Now, take note, I have done this. Confirm. So once you have saved this, right, as you can see, the screen is still showing you the old stats. So what you need to do is just to load what you have done. Click on Start Edit. Then you'll bring you this box here. Then select the center one, which is this. Scroll down. Look for the thing that you have saved, which I have done. Let's see, did I save? Okay, this is weird. I have saved it. Oh, not save as, sorry. It's save. My bad. Gonna redo again. So sorry about this. Right, gonna do a simple one. Okay, probably I will load my previous edition. Now this application can be quite confusing at times, but it's just a matter of fact of getting used to it. Okay, I'm just going to load one of my profile. Let's say I'm just going to load this. Okay, I'll use, it will show, okay, this profile over here, and I edit the theme. So assuming that you load another profile and such, alright, then click on save if it is new. If let's say it's not existing, because right now is this profile, any changes to this, when I click on save, right, you overwrite. So right now, once you've done the changes, right, you should click on save as, unless as mentioned you've done this brand new. Okay, then you click on save, then it will be on the profile. Okay, take for example, I have done the changes and such. Okay, probably I add, no, not data. Okay, whatever you do not need, you just click on delete. Okay, Let's see, status bar. Okay, let's say this is the new one. You just click on save. If it is new, okay, everything create from fresh. If it is existing that you edit, click on save as. Confirm. So as you can see, it's loaded. So when you pick up this, right, it's listed over here. Okay, see, it's safe under here. So remember, right, just to show you what happened, okay, take a look. This is the original original stats and such, the wallpaper and such. So I'm just going to select this. Assuming that you click on use and you edit this, right, this is existing. And if let's say it happens that you created something, okay, if you click on save, right, it's going to overwrite and your original will not be there. So take note on this. So let's say I click on save. Okay, it's done. Now when I look back over here, see, it overwrite. So be careful with the save and save as. I wish that something should be done over here. It should prompt you, if let's say save, right, do you want to overwrite? You know, a prompt. And when you save, right, it'll prompt you for a file name for you to key in. But this program rather, you know, it doesn't do that. So you got to be very, very careful on what you're doing. Now, as mentioned to you, loading all this, right, you can do plenty of stuff here, even loading icon. Okay, take for example, I will just load the profile that I will show you what I've done. It's pretty flexible for this application, in fact, because I am able to load things beside the wallpaper. Okay, I will use this. Alright, edit. Now, you might be wondering, how am I placing this or this? These are icons. Okay, and this I just key in. It's not auto grab. Alright, so how do you actually insert this? Go to control, then icon. See, it will give you this. Then click on icon, select the icon which is in PNG file. Best is transparent. Once you select it, right, see, it will show you this. I know it's very awful. Then you do the adjustment like your width. Okay, probably you can, you know, extend it, make it look nicer. Then your height. You know, it's very manual and tedious, but once it's done, right, rest assured, see, look how good it is. This is one thing good about this application. And speaking about this application, the usage of it, right, if I were to show you over here, okay, see, this is how much it's been using. Right now, you're actually controlling it. If I am to close all this, right, okay, let me just close this, leaving it to run at the background. Okay, this is leaving to run at the background. See, look at the usage. It's so much lesser. It's only when you're, it's so much lesser in the sense that it's not consistent. As in, like, you know, consistent to take up 2% of the resources and such. Most of the time it's 0, see, or 0.9, unless you use the application which I mentioned to you, right? See, then you start to, you know, pick up. So there you have it. It's a pretty simple, neat program. It's very customizable. Okay, though it's a bit small, but you know, as I shown you on the B-roll at the beginning, right, it's very clear. So long you done your settings correct and your, you know, your positioning correct, everything will be nicely done. See, so these are things that what I like about this application is this. And not only this, you can load things that, you know, you have done. Okay, you can just use it, then edit. And the editor is over here, so you can do all kinds of things that you wanted. See, it's like, you know, you can delete this if you don't want to. See, and you can add stuff. These are all the things that you can do. You can even do lines if you want to. Just insert a line. Now for insertion of line, right, to do separators, right, you can't pull the line. You will have to declare. Let's say one is 200. Oh, too much. 300 is the max, so I like 200. So you got to declare before you can move. But one thing good is that you are able to, you know, move the line or even all this. See? Then remember, take note on the save and save as. As mentioned to you, if you are creating something new from scratch, save. Right? If you are editing something, save as. Do not save. If you save, it will overwrite what you have done previously. My thoughts about this unit coming from PCcooler, known as the DT360 ARGB display. Okay, probably you guys might be eyeing on my display stating the temperature on the idle, which is 43 degrees Celsius. Yeah, it's very warm in my room. That's why I turn on the aircon, and my room temperature right now is 29.3, and it's going down. Most likely it will hit 28. That's why I'm having a very good idle temperature, right? This is normal. But anyway, I'm still impressed with the idle temperature, which is hovering around 56 degrees Celsius with this unit at high profile on fans, which most of the Liquid AIO have tested, right, it has never touched 46 degrees Celsius. Most of the time will be around 47, 48, 49, around there. So this is the most coolest Liquid AIO that I've ever encountered. And for the performance wise, right, you have witnessed it, alright? If I'm going to do this rerun, this whole system of the same configuration and to run on other Liquid AIO, right, it's either hovering around 78, 77, 78, or even to 79 degrees Celsius. But never have I encountered 76 degrees Celsius. So this tells me how good this liquid cooler is. Okay, back to the basic. Starting off with the impression, when I remove off the package, everything is nicely packed, well protected. And the moment I pick up the radiator, I am really impressed based on the fact that everything feels so sturdy and premium. Nice braided holes with the first thing that, you know, that when I look at the radiator, right, it's actually the butt, whereby you have this chrome finish, which is aluminium. Nice touch. That's what I like. I thought initially this is actually EK, but I mean OEM EK, but it's not. As I read further on this company itself, right, I did lots of other content regarding about this PCcooler, the Liquid AIO. They start to improve better and better. So with this said, right, I was impressed with the feel of the radiator and the look of the radiator. Now, the moment I unpack the block, my goodness, the block is heavy. And when I look at it, wow, the whole thing is not plastic. It doesn't feel plastic at all. In fact, it's aluminium. And by right, aluminium should be light. I believe the mechanism of the pump, right, they did something special about it. The ceramic shaft, where again I'm impressed. Now, all the liquid cooler, okay, you can watch all my content. Majority of them is pumping at 3000 to 3100 RPM. This cooler here, 2600 max. And what happened? The thermal is fantastic. Well engineered pump. It's even better than the Gen 8 Ace-Tech pump, to be honest. Now, for long run, right, you might be skeptic. How well will this cooler run? Let me tell you something. The past coolers that I have, like the DS360 or the some other names I cannot remember, they are hovering very well. Even, you know, mounted on one of my friend's rig. Till now, he's still using it and it's still cooling well. So I have no doubts about the durability of the AIO at all. Good construction, good performance. You know, everything is nicely thought of. I like the locking mechanism of either AMD or the Intel when you mount it. It's very simple. Not so much of accessories. For AMD, what you need to do, just take out the original bracket, apply thermal paste, and bam! You just whack the cooler in. For Intel, slap the slap the back plate, turn over, apply paste, and bam, again. It's so straightforward. And one thing good is that not only this, if in the event, if let's say this cooler is damaged, right, you can make use of this as a display. See, it's detachable. And this, in fact, earlier on when I show you, right, it's actually mounted on my another case, which is not far from me. If you guys have watched my video on how I did my video editing, right, at the center there's a PC. Yep, I mounted this on that PC while this is running over here. Alright, now the display is, very clear and sharp, as you can see. Sorry about the lightings at the top. So it's very vibrant, and customization, my goodness, they have improved heaps on the application itself. I'm able to toggle all the icons, the stats and such. It's so well polished. It's just that it takes some time to get used of the interface. Now, I have nothing negative to talk about this Liquid AIO, except for one thing. As I check out the price, right, at Amazon US, the price is at $169. But if I were to purchase that and to ship it to my country, there are shipping charges, which cost me, the whole unit, right, is $260. So consider it's very lucky, and thanks to PCcooler, you have provided this unit for me to stay. I don't have to return this, thank you. Yeah, so basically, when you purchase this, right, if it's of a good price, right, it is actually a very good deal. And on top of which, the fan itself, okay, right now I can't explain to you how well they look. Okay, probably you might see the LED shining out, but it's with purpose, because in real life when you look at it, right, the ARGB in the rim, right, is in fact flashing, beaming to the blade itself. It gives you a touring effect on certain effects like the rainbow, like the aesthetic. It gives me that cloudy kind of effect, and furthermore it's so refined. It's not all over the shot, because most of the Liquid AIO, right, when they have ARGB, right, they have the whole blade diffuse the whole ARGB, which I find that it doesn't have the artistic impact. Else for this, right, okay, I'm so sorry, probably it will shake a bit. Okay, I know my desk is messy. Take a look. It's so refined. Okay, probably right now you might be able to see, okay, look at the red circle thing. It gives you the cloudy effect that the fan is spinning. Okay, so this is something which I really appreciate. It has the premium feel. It built premium. Okay, the LCD display is solid. Plus the diffusion on the ARGB, fantastic. This is really a piece of art. With this said, I'd like to thank PCcooler to provide this unit for me to share with everyone. And I hope you guys have actually enjoyed what I shared with you. If you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. If you like my content, do remember to subscribe and to click on the notification bell button. Do me a big favor, if you like this content, help me to click on the like button, as this will help my channel. Take care, goodbye, see ya.